I'm Andrew Wheeler, and welcome to my presentation. Today I want to talk about Nightwing, specifically who is going to play him in the upcoming entire universe of DC movies. James Gunn is currently the architect of the new DC cinematic universe, and he has said that one of the projects he wants to launch is a Teen Titans movie, would almost certainly require the casting of someone in the role of Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, and people are buzzing about the possibilities there. The role of Dick Grayson has been played on screen in the past by Brenton Thwaites in the Titans TV show, Chris O'Donnell in the Batman movies, in a very formative role for queers of my generation, and by Burt Ward, of course, in the Batman TV show of the 70s. So there haven't been a lot, actually, of Dick Graysons and even fewer Nightwings in live action. I think Brenton Thwaites is the only actor to have portrayed that version of the character. But this version will more likely be a Nightwing than a Robin, as Gunn has already indicated that Damian Wayne will be the Robin in his universe. So we have a lot of contenders that have been talked about over the years, a lot of factors to consider about who should play Nightwing in a Titans movie. It's going to be a real plum role. Like, this is one of the most beloved DC characters. It's a role that could be the making of someone's career, and that could show up in multiple movies, including a Nightwing movie, the Titans movie or movies, and of course a Batman movie. A few things I should say up front. I have no insider knowledge. I do work in the comic book industry, but I don't know anyone at Warner Brothers. It used to be an entertainment journalist, so this stuff does fascinate me. The fan casting stuff is something I just have always enjoyed. I do not know James Gunn. He would not return my calls because I could not call him. I know nothing about what is happening. Also, I suspect there's nothing to know. I don't think the casting process has begun. And that is a big factor, actually, in all of this. The Teen Titans film will likely debut 2028 or later. It's not on the docket so far, and it's been talked about being a project that Gunn wants to pursue. But the writer on this movie is also the writer on the Wonder Woman movie, and that is higher up in the schedule. So I think 2028 optimistically is the most likely time to see a Titans movie. To that end, Gunn is not going to cast anyone that is not going to be able to play the role for a good 10 years. So he's going to be looking at someone 25 years old or younger today, I would think. That means people born in the year 2000 or later, which is a shocking thing to think about, that we're now excluding anyone born in the 20th century from playing these roles. But I think that realistically is the case, because a lot of the actors that people want to see in this role, in this movie, are just too old now, or will be too old come 2028, 29, 30. So Aramis Knight, popular suggestion, born 1999, too old now. Corey Milchrist looks the part, but too old. Wolfgang Novogratz, whose name comes up a lot, not just when people are trying to answer questions about the Second World War and they think this is the name of a battle or possibly a Russian submarine. Wolfgang Novogratz, 1997, he does look like a superhero. He would be great as a superhero, but I think he's too old for this one. Also too tall, something we'll discuss. Josh Houston, one of the most popular names, and absolutely, if they were casting Nightwing 3 years ago, Josh Houston, I think, would be maybe the best pick. Like, he's beautiful. He has piercing eyes. He's an incredible physique. He looks the part 100%, but he is almost 30 now. So give him a couple more years and he would end up being a 45-year-old Nightwing at the possible end of his tenure. That's not right. The character is youthful, not a kid, but youthful. Timothée Chalamet, of course, everyone always talks about him being a possible Nightwing, born in 1995. I don't know why people are so obsessed with this possible casting. Why would you get an actor this well established who isn't really particularly well suited to the role? He's not known for being a physical performer. He's known for being a very cerebral performer. He hasn't pursued a lot of franchise stuff outside of Dune. I don't know if he's expressed an interest in playing Dick Grayson. It seems way outside of the zone for him, but people always name him because he's the most famous young brunette actor they can think of. It's not going to be any Timothée Chalamet, you stupid. Some other actors who are now aged out: Belmont Cameli, Drake Roger, Nicholas Alexander Chavez, Tana Buchanan, Leo Howard, Tana Zagarino, Jack Innanen, who is a personal choice of mine, Colin McCullough. I don't think people talk about Jack Innanen being a possibility, but I think he has so much charisma that he would actually be a very plausible Nightwing. But all of these guys will be 30 by the time this movie shoots, most likely. Maybe 29, still too old. And as for the people that everyone has been talking up low these many decades, I mean, let that be the clue that you need. It's not going to be Matt Bomer. It's not going to be Jensen Ackles. It's not going to be Ben Barnes. They will all be in their 50s when this movie is made, most likely. They are too old. They are too old to play James Bond. They might be too old to play Batman. We have to learn to let go of the castings we've dreamt of, because time keeps marching on, but the movies don't get made. Brenton Thwaites, also too old. He did play Dick Grayson, as I mentioned, in Titans, and a lot of people immediately say, well, he should play him again. It's the easiest possible answer, and it's wrong. He can't play Nightwing again. He did it. He did a good job. I love Brenton Thwaites, but he is now, in his late 30s? So let it go. And similarly, Dylan O'Brien, born in 1991. Dylan O'Brien seems to be like was number one choice. And maybe if they made this movie when Teen Wolf was a new thing, maybe. I actually don't think he's a great choice either way, honestly. I am as much a fan of Dylan O'Brien as anyone. I think he is very handsome, very funny, very charming. He has got a sharpness and a wit and an intelligence to him, but he doesn't look like Nightwing to me. He doesn't feel like someone who's very gymnastic. And that's an important part of the character. The physicality of the character, I think, is hugely important. And again, if you're over the age of 30, you might not have the stamina for this particular role. And I know Liam Neeson, Keanu Reeves, Bob Odenkirk, like we have older action heroes all the time now, but they're not playing a circus acrobat. And I have to let go of my dream castings as well. Brennan Mejia, formerly a Power Ranger, was for a long time my number one choice to play Nightwing. Look at the man. He's beautiful. He looks exactly like Dick Grayson. It's all there. His butt is exquisite. You can find him doing handstand videos and it is perfect. And you can find him doing handstand videos because he is a gymnast, a circus performer. He has literally the right background to be Nightwing. He's also the right height. I'll address that in a second, but he can't do it. He was born in 1990. He is 10 years out of sync with where this movie is going to go, in my opinion. I've mentioned height a few times here. Height is not the most important criterion in casting any role, but it is a consideration. You know, there's a lot that movies can do to trick height, but I don't think movies want to have to do that if they can avoid it, especially if they're going to have characters appearing full body in a lot of action set pieces. Obviously, a stunt performer will do most of that work, but you still want to have the option to have your face actor in there. In the comics, Nightwing is 5'10". Burt Ward was 5'8", Chris O'Donnell 5'9", Brenton Thwaites 5'11", so all in that sweet spot. Real world male gymnasts average about 5'5". 6 foot would be wildly tall for a male gymnast. 5'10", 5'11" is kind of the cap, I think. Batman needs to be taller. 6'2" in the comics, that's a 4-inch gap. So you don't really want to have to cast someone where you're going to have to put Batman on an apple box. But it's not the end of the world if you have to. If they find the perfect actor and he's the wrong height, I'm sure they would let it go. But it's something they're going to be thinking about. More important to the physicality, a lean, muscular build, ideally someone with a dance or martial arts background so they can move like Nightwing, so that they are built like Nightwing. There is a litheness, a gracefulness to Nightwing. He is darkly beautiful. His masculine features are more tempered by a feminine softness than Batman, who is all arch alpha jaw and brow. Nightwing has a more very romantic leading man visual to him. There's a kindness to the character. He's handsome, but he's still approachable. He feels like a sort of dream first boyfriend. That's my impression of the character. He's green flags all the way, whereas Batman has more than his share of red flags. So yeah, you want someone who can embrace that romantic visual, not someone who is a sort of Alan Ritchson style strongman or an Adam Driver style too intense by half. There's plenty of room and roles for those actors. This would not be one of them, even if they were the right age for it. Now let's talk about background, because this is one of the most important considerations for a lot of fans of the character. Nightwing is from Romani stock. He is from the circus. His parents were Romani travelers. There are people who, on the one hand, are very frustrated that it has to be a consideration because they think it's a very minor part of the character. There are other people who are very adamant that it should be a Romani actor cast in the role because let's create opportunities for Romani actors rather than taking opportunities away from them. And that is something I agree with in principle very much. It's something I agree generally in the industry. Let's make Hollywood, let's make movie and TVs safe spaces for Romani people to acknowledge their heritage and talk about it, because actually there is so much anti-Romani, anti-Zygonistic feeling in the world today. It's one of the last marginalized groups that is still like polite dinner table conversation discriminated against by a wide swath of people, like not just the people you expect to be racist. Somehow there are a lot of people who think it's fine to be racist against Romani people. It is not. It should never be. We should be looking at positive representations of Romani people. And for that reason, I think it's more important that the character be presented as Romani in any adaptation on screen than that the actor cast in the role be Romani, because there's no single Romani look. There are plenty of people from other marginalized backgrounds who could play the role very well, who could play the role with some authority. I think there should be someone involved in the storytelling of a Nightwing story who has a Romani heritage, Romani background, and can bring that authority to the story of this character. I don't think it needs to be the actor. I think they should look for a Romani actor that fits the type, but it's going to be very hard to find one. I think a lot of people who have Romani heritage don't talk about it, don't acknowledge it because of the prejudice that exists, maybe don't even know about it because the generational prejudice means that it may have been suppressed in the family line. So by saying it has to be a Romani actor, I think we're actually creating too high a bar when the real important thing is to represent Romani heritage and culture in the story. And it needs to be said, Romani don't look a certain singular way. We think traditionally of olive complexion, dark hair, dark eyes. That is the sort of the stereotype of Romani people, but that's not accurate at all. There have been several Romani actors in Hollywood in the past. Rita Hayworth, Charlie Chaplin, Paula Negri, Yul Brynner. They were all Romani in addition to other heritage that they had. Paula Negri maybe fits the sort of dark hair romantic cliche, but in itself that cliche is kind of offensive and limiting. It's the G word idea of what a Romani person is. Bob Hoskins, Tracy Ullman, no one would think that they were Romani actors if they hadn't been told, although I think Bob Hoskins was quite proud of his heritage and did talk about it. So it doesn't have to be a Romani actor. It could be a Romani actor, but if we're only talking about Romani actors, then why even talk about it at all? Because we don't know who those actors are. The one exception is this guy, Connor Swindells, who you will know from Sex Education and from the Barbie movie. He is Romani through his mother. He's also very good fit in a lot of other ways. He studies jiu-jitsu. He used to be a model, so he can certainly deliver the killer looks. He's very clearly very athletic, very fit. Unfortunately, he was born in 1996, so he's aged out of the role. He doesn't look very like any comic book version of Dick Grayson, but I'm sure he could look the part. He looks a bit like Chris O'Donnell, honestly, if they wanted to go that route. So if Romani is the only consideration, then Connor Swindells is kind of the only candidate that we know about. Well, sorry, that I know about right now. And I don't think he's a better choice than some of these other people are going to talk about. And there's been a lot of talk. One of the popular names that you'll see online is this guy, Asher Angel. He is the right age, the right height. As far as I know, he doesn't have a dance or martial arts background. So I think those are quite important. But of course, anyone can be trained to do anything. But people with a dance or martial arts background have years of that discipline already, and it can't be replicated through a 12-month boot camp. The biggest counter against Asher Angel is that he was Billy Batson in the Shazam movies in the previous DC universe. He's not my first pick because he doesn't have the dramatic acting experience that I think would make him a really compelling Nightwing. But he's certainly in the running, and I'm sure will be auditioning for this, and has said that he would like to play the role. Does playing another DC character interfere with that? I don't think it has to. We already know that Jason Momoa played Aquaman and is going to play Lobo. So if you can make that big an exception for such a well-recognized actor, there's really no reason they can't recast other actors. Another actor who has already played a DC live-action hero is Jolo Maridueña, who perfect in many regards. Born in 2001, so the right age, looks the part. is a martial artist, is a person of color, which again, I think is a bonus. If you can have a person of color play the role of Nightwing, they can have a better understanding of his identity, his background, even if they do not share his exact background. And I'm a big fan of saying, hey, actors don't have to be restrained by ethnicity because it limits opportunities too much. Like many Asian actors have said that if I'm Korean, I don't want to only play Korean roles. And, we don't have these limitations in place for white actors. So we don't say if you're Swedish, you can't play French. So yeah, it's kind of not helping anyone if we insist on an absolute purity for people of color in acting roles. I defer to the community on that, but I am persuaded by the community that a level of colorblind casting that excludes white people is actually more desirable for getting more people into more audition rooms. But Jolo Maridueña played Blue Beetle. That might actually still be canon. He might still be playing Blue Beetle in the James Gunn DC universe. So that would disqualify him, which is a shame because I think he's pretty much perfect. David Mazouz, another former DC performer who is now right in the sweet spot to play this role. He's the right height. He was born in 2001. He looks Batman-y for a reason, because he was Bruce Wayne in the Gotham TV show. And on that show, he studied Krav Maga. So he has the martial arts background. David Mazouz kind of looks like a great choice for Nightwing. I don't know if he's interested. I don't know why he wouldn't be, but it would be sort of weird to have someone who played a young Batman, young Bruce Wayne, play Nightwing instead. Maybe he wants to play Batman one day. They have new Batmans all the time. Louis Partridge, another name that's been thrown up a lot. He was born in 2003. He's 6 foot, so just over the line for what I think is appropriate. Looks the part, was in Paddington 2. That's not really an endorsement or anything. I just, I love those movies. Yeah, there's not a strong case for or against Louis Partridge. Matthew Broome, born 2001, 6'1", so actually quite tall for the considerations here. But he has a stage background, so he has done probably stage combat. He has the gravitas. He's had a leading role in a Globe Shakespeare production. So yeah, he has a lot in his favor that I think make him credible. He just needs to shrink a little bit. Some honorable, not even going to mention. There are literally dozens of these guys who could be in contention. But if they're maybe slightly too tall, slightly too short, not quite the right age, don't have the acting background, or just don't scream Dick Grayson Nightwing to me, or I just haven't seen them in anything and so can't really make a judgment, I'm going to just glide over them. They're not in my top picks. Sorry to this man times, 30. So let's get into my picks. And again, to reiterate, I think someone around 5'10", so that they can physically inhabit the part next to other actors in key roles, especially Superman, Batman, someone with a lithe physique and a background in gymnastics, dance, martial arts. Some of our best superhero actors have a dance background. The most notable example is Tom Holland, who, of course, was in Billy Elliot and on stage and can still dance. We all know the umbrella routine and seems to love doing the actual stunt work insofar as he's allowed to by the insurance company. And I think that makes a huge difference to have actors who can actually play the physical side of the role. It's something actors should want, and it's something studios should want. So we're going to start with a complete wildcard pick. This is Dane Little. He's not an actor. He's too tall. I just think he's neat. I mean, look at that man. He kind of embodies the Nightwing, wholesome, charming, desirable thing. He's a model who works at Little Plumeria Farms in Oahu, in Hawaii. And if you've seen him at all, you've seen him in TikToks or Instagram reels, just describing the beautiful lays that he is modeling. And they just don't make many men like this. It's not going to be Dane Little. I don't seriously think it should be Dane Little, but I think he has the energy, so he's worth bringing up. The most likely actor, I think, in all reality, and this person that gets brought up quite a lot, is Mason Thames. Sorry, I'm English. I say Thames. He says Thames? Mason Thames. Born 2007, literally a baby. He turned 18 like a couple of months ago, I believe. 5'7", so a little short, but maybe he's not done growing. I don't know. He's a child. Maybe that's not actually his current height. Maybe that's just what the internet told me. He has a ballet background, so great. He's handsome, charming, wholesome, looks sweet, actually. He's in How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version. He's in the Black Phone movies. So yeah, he's actually got a pretty good body of work under his belt already, and he's clearly being I don't want to say the word groomed. It sounds gross. He's being positioned as a future star. Like, clearly this guy is seen as next generation Hollywood. So Mason Thames, I think, probably has this job in the bag if he wants it, honestly. And I'm not mad about it, but he doesn't make my top three personal top picks. Number three on my list, or the lovely second alternate, Jamie Flatters, born in 2000. He has a contemporary dance background. He's 5'11". He has these incredibly piercing eyes, model looks. Like, this is a sensual, seductive Dick Grayson. I don't know a lot of Jamie Flatters' works, but I think he absolutely looks the part. He's a British actor, so you know he's going to be better than most of the other people at the audition. And yeah, he has a background in movement. He's a great possibility. First alternate for me, and this is a name I almost never see come up, Anthony Cavan, who born in 2000, so he's one of our oldest applicants, 6 foot, so also one of our tallest applicants, but he is from a Filipino/Iranian background. So he definitely looks like he could be from Romani stock. Again, literally anyone with any look could be from Romani stock, but he fits the idea that people have in their heads. And he has studied Muay Thai, so he can do the movement part of it. He's a former model, again, or maybe still inactively a model. I mean, wouldn't you hire that man? He has the big eyes, the beautiful wavy hair, the cheekbones. He would be an incredible Dick Grayson. My number one choice, who I think ticks every box, and who, if I did have James Gunn's phone number, I would be calling him up to suggest, is Defero Wunatai from best known for being in Reservation Dogs. He is the right age. So if they make the movie in 3 years' time, he would just be in his late 20s still. He's 5'10", exactly the right height. He is a karate black belt, and I put an asterisk next to this. His grandfather is like a world champion karate master. Like, he has his own Wikipedia page. This guy was raised in martial arts. Defero Wunatai is, I believe, a incredibly capable martial artist who has been doing it his whole life. So that really helps. And again, he is a person of color. He's Oji Cree and Chinese Guyanese. This is someone who has experienced prejudice. This is someone who knows what it is to be an outsider in a predominantly white culture. I think as an Indigenous actor, his experiences closely with what a Romani person might experience. Again, we don't have a lot of Romani actors to discuss. Also, the person playing this role might not be on anyone's radar. It could be someone who hasn't even made a film yet. And again, it could be a Romani actor who hasn't even made a film yet. Because they're not making this film for another 3 years, there are people born later than Mason Thames who might be the next Nightwing. But if it were me, Defero Wunatai would be my pick. I think he's got the build, he's got the look, he's got the talent, he has an intensity, but also he's charming. And I mean, look at the man, he's fashion forward. Okay, it's a photo shoot. He probably didn't choose the clothes. But yeah, I think he is perfect. I think he kind of looks like Travis Moore's version of Dick Grayson. And if you're a fan of Travis Moore's work, please check out the comic Sins of the Black Flamingo, illustrated by Travis Moore and written by me. This is a comic book perfect Nightwing, in my opinion. Sorry to the Dylan O'Brien and Jensen Ackles fans. Let me know in the comments all the ways you think I'm wrong, or, interestingly and controversially, where I might be right. It's the internet. I don't expect miracles. And please share this video with your most manic Nightwing fan friends, and please like and subscribe. And also Little Plumeria Farms on Instagram if you want to see more of Dane Little modelling gorgeous lays. He's just a sweetie. Thank you for coming to my presentation. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can follow Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at KKBBpod, or email us at kisskissbangbangpod@gmail.com.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is recorded in Toronto on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples.